An unrepentant Just Stop Oil protester who delayed thousands of motorists on the M25 insists that she'd do the same again, despite facing a prison sentence for her original stunt in July 2022.
We are currently on a gantry above the M25. It's very loud up here, it's very windy. We've dropped a banner over the edge, securely tied, that says "Just Stop Oil," because that is what our government must do. It must stop new oil and gas licences in the North Sea.
So Cressida Gethin did cause mayhem to an estimated 4,000 people. She scaled those gantries above the busy motorway near Heathrow Airport. She was convicted in February for causing a public nuisance and faces sentencing next month. The 22-year-old told fellow eco-campaigner Chris Packham in the Radio Times, "I would do it all again, but there's one thing I'd do additionally, and I'm considering it. I'd find some way of meeting with anyone who had been affected by what I did so they could tell me how they felt." Well, even if she wanted to, she could instead be languishing in jail for her efforts in just a few weeks. Her friend and fellow Just Stop Oil supporter Ben Larsen joins me now. Look, Ben, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. An individual missed his father's funeral because of that, and yet she says she'd do it all again. Would you like to apologise?
Cressida has absolutely nothing to apologise for. I'd just like to make that very clear from the start.
Missing missing someone's funeral now? Father's funeral?
There's going to be a lot more fathers with a lot more funerals if the government pushes on with their current plans of extracting more oil and gas, burning more fossil fuels, and leaving us all to deal with it. It's a global death sentence for so many people, fathers, mothers, children alike. And Cressy is one of the few people who's actually willing to put her money where her mouth is and commit to taking actions to avoid this in the first place.
Some people might say it is absolutely unbelievably narcissistic to think that it's okay that you have the right to force someone to miss their father's funeral.
Others would say it's unbelievably narcissistic for the government to think that they can continue extracting oil and gas just to line the pockets of their mates, while the rest of us are going to be trapped in a world that's warming at unprecedented rates. I mean, this is
if there was a cause that I cared deeply about, right? If there was a cause that I cared deeply about, and you were on your way, hypothetically, and I don't need to know your personal circumstances, I hope this never happens, Ben, but hypothetically on your way to your father's funeral, and I stopped you from going there, you'd probably be a bit miffed, wouldn't you? And if I said to you, look, I'd like to just meet up with you, I'd do it all again, but I'd meet up with you afterwards. Do you not think that points to some kind of whopping great big sense of entitlement there?
I think that's between Chrissy and that fella, to be honest with you. But
well, she's part of your group, Ben. You just said she's got nothing to apologise for.
Excuse me, Patrick. Excuse me. I'll answer your question if you let me. The actions that Cressy took, not only are they justified, many, many more people across the UK are planning to take similar actions this summer. And if you want to be part of it, you can go to juststopoil.org. But if you're serious, like you said, if you've got a cause that you care about, if you're serious about enacting that change, the way to do it is through mass civil resistance. That's the way politics in this country has changed. It's the way that politics in this country has always changed. Okay, the suffragettes didn't get their rights just by waving a placard outside Westminster. If you pick up a history book, this is the way that politics changed.
You're not the suffragettes, Ben, are you? Let's be honest. I mean, again, is that not just another absolutely astonishing level to your narcissism that you are putting yourself in the same bracket as the suffragettes? Really? I mean, history remembers the suffragettes, rather well in the fullness of time, whereas what you were doing in terms of annoying the public and making them miss the funerals and making them miss hospital appointments and things like that, I'm not really sure that's the same.
What do you think? Patrick, if GBNews was around at the time of the suffragettes, whose side do you think you'd...
Well, I would have personally definitely been on the side of women having the vote.
Oh, that's such bollocks, man. You would have been a reactionary just like the rest. Because this, the actions Just Stop Oil are taking are clearly the socially progressive causes. If you... we're facing mass climate breakdown. We're facing no crops in the ground. I don't know if you follow the news, Patrick, but crops are literally rotting in the ground at the moment. Okay, that's going to lead to a shortage on the shelves. That's going to lead to mothers and fathers, like you're talking about, not being able to feed their kids. The right thing to do at this point is to get together, get organized, No more protesting about around Parliament. No more waving banners and waving placards. If we're facing 40 degrees of heat, if we're facing no food on the shelves, we need to get serious and start disrupting the government so they have to pay attention.
Well, where does this end, Ben? Because, does it then the next stage goes, it's justified to kill political decision makers to make even more of a stand as the situation in your mind becomes more and more extreme and we get closer to that burning point? What's the limit to your actions, Ben? Because you're able to formulate in your own head a complete justification for absolutely everything going forward. It's quite a small leap, actually, to start justifying it. Other extreme stuff, isn't it? So will that happen?
You're talking nonsense, I'm afraid, Patrick. Just Stop Oil is committed to non-violent resistance. We think that's the most effective way to win change in this country, and it's where the British public are at. So
what's the evidence for that, Ben? What is the evidence for that this is the most effective way of doing it? Because it hasn't really massively worked for you so far, has it, mate?
I could bore you with the social studies, but I don't think you really want to hear them.
Well, no, but go on, mate, seriously, because you always, every single time I come on and I say, look, we've worked well to get towards net zero, you always tell me the same thing, which is that we haven't done anything, which actually means your actions haven't achieved anything, have they? So go on, what's the evidence?
Okay, well, if you want some evidence, just a couple months after Cressy blocked this motorway, in an unbelievably brave action, Keir Starmer came out, said the Labour Party are committed to no new oil and gas extraction in the North Sea, including in the North Sea at Davos just a few months before.
We'll just take it from places like Iran, won't we, Ben?
You can draw a direct line between those two actions. I do not believe Keir Starmer would have done that if it wasn't for the brave actions of Cressy.
All right, Ben.
And the other.
All right, look, thank you very much. And I know we have our disagreements, but I do genuinely appreciate you coming on the show. So thank you very much. That is Ben Larsen.